Cinema Siren.
I have a question for you. Why is genuine heart so disparaged in Hollywood? Do they think we don't want to feel good? True, there is a risk of tripping over that fine line and falling headlong into schmaltz, but there's nothing wrong with trying a little tenderness in a movie. That's what Dan Fogelman, writer of Cars, Tangled, and Crazy Stupid Love, hopes to prove with his directorial debut, Danny Collins, that a movie with genuine heart will be embraced by audiences. And why shouldn't it when his warm, old-fashioned story offers up two of America's best actors, Al Pacino and Bobby Cannavale? Throw in two perpetually undervalued actresses known for navigating roles with nuance, Annette Bening and Jennifer Garner, multi-award-winning Christopher Plummer, and impressive newcomer Giselle Eisenberg in supporting roles, and it becomes quite an ensemble. This ensemble, along with some well-written and truly exquisite scenes of familial intimacy, raises this movie from feeling dangerously similar to a Hallmark movie to something to be savored and enjoyed. This plot is a twist on the familiar. Self-disgusted human jukebox Danny Collins is dissatisfied with his vapid pop star existence, devoid of depth and real purpose. Coking it up with his 20-something fiancé and applying last-minute spray tan before singing the same 40-year-old song, "Hey Baby Doll," to thousands of aging fans just isn't cutting it anymore. Change is in order. In this case, the catalyst for self-examination and desire for change shows up when his best friend and manager, Frank Grumman, played by Christopher Plummer, gifts him a 40-year-old undelivered letter from John Lennon, advising Danny he can be famous and still stay true to his art and his personal growth. Even after 40 years, Lennon seems to have played just the right mind games. Collins moves into a New Jersey Hilton near his family, where he chats up no-nonsense, unimpressed manager Mary Sinclair, Annette Bening, with pickup lines that work best with the sycophants he's left behind, and not on her, not at all. He also attempts to reconcile and get to know Tom Donnelly, Bobby Cannavale, the illegitimate child he's never met and who really wants nothing to do with him. Tom is too busy making a decent living for his pregnant wife Samantha, Jennifer Garner, and ADHD little girl Hope, played by Giselle Eisenberg, who's like a little actress savant. She's so naturally good she can act with Al Pacino and still steal the scene. Collins will have to work very hard to find real authenticity, both with his family and inside himself. Writer-director Fogelman uses the true story of folk singer Steve Stilson getting a letter from Lennon as inspiration for a story about redemption, fearlessness, disappointment, and stardom. He also poses questions about shifting family dynamics, forgiveness, and the responsibility we have to ourselves to strive to be more at any age. Fogelman isn't reinventing the wheel here. He's just sitting there watching it go round and round. He uses a few tried and true dramedy plot devices like pulling the cancer card. It would seem more cliched if not for the realistically written and portrayed scenes of quiet intimacy that capture how family members deal with it and each other, for better or worse, under those kinds of circumstances. If it all sounds like the film should be called Calling All Baby Boomers, you're not entirely wrong. The soundtrack, for one thing, is almost exclusively original songs by John Lennon, strategically placed to punctuate scenes and interaction in the script. The one and only Yoko Ono allowed the use of John Lennon's songs, which she rarely does. That's one boomer goddess giving the film a rousing testimonial. Fogelman elevates the story with a few good plot twists and some really great dialogue, especially as he juxtaposes the simple comfort in the way Tom and Sam interact and speak to each other against the awkward, shallow banter shared between Danny and Mary. There are some loose spots in several points in the script, like in the scene where Danny crumbles in the face of his demanding fans. It is questionable whether 40 years in the business of crowd control from stadium stages would leave him without the manipulative skills necessary to shut down any fan shenanigans. But we love and want lovable scamp Danny, or maybe it's Al Pacino, to succeed so badly we'll maintain hope and see him through to the end. Really, what makes this film so watchable is the authenticity of the characters and dialogue, as well as the stellar acting. Every time the film threatens to dip into cliched schmaltz, the actors lift it up. The ensemble work here just is impeccable. Pacino shows he has a love of the script, story, and character, and makes Danny someone to champion, even as pathetic as he's become. Scenes with both Plummer and Cannavale are like actors' workshops, and why not? It's pretty much the Mutual Admiration Society. Here is Al about working with Christopher Plummer, being a big fan, and writing a fan letter of his own.
I've worked with Bobby, because Bobby, I don't know that we could have done what we did together. Bobby and we just met on the picture. We did plays together, so. But with Chris, he was an idol of mine. I was very influenced by him. I actually wrote him a fan letter when I saw him on stage once, and I did work The Insider with him. He was Mike Wallace. Like nobody's ever been Mike Wallace, including Mike Wallace. He was just there. He was, and so I had a real attraction to him, and then we got along very well in the movie, and we became friends and stuff. And so him doing this movie with me.
Here's Bobby talking about his lifelong appreciation of Al Pacino and treating him sort of like a rabbit's foot.
I suppose I would have written a letter to Al. Probably would have written a letter to Al. I would have asked him what advice he could have given me. I would have told him I hated school, and I don't want to go to school and learn about this stuff, so what do I do? You know what's amazing? And now that I know him, it would have been great. It would have been great to have met him then, because he'd have been like, me too. Al didn't even graduate high school. So it would have been really simpatico. But we've already come to discover that all these years later. So it is kind of like I wrote him a letter and then found out that we had a lot in common, except that I didn't actually write the letter. But, I told Al, I said, for years, I've been doing theater for years in New York, 20 years or whatever, and it's been a little mantra of mine, a little like ritual. Every time I go into the theater, right before as I walk into the theater, I say, Al Pacino's coming tonight. And I told him when I met him that's what I've been doing for years. It was just like a weird superstition of mine. And that one day I was going to get to meet him, and that was going to pay off, and I would get to work with him. And it did. It all happened. So I guess that's my version of writing him a letter and it coming true.
A fun fact about the making of this indie is they recorded the big Danny Collins number live with the audience at a concert for the band Chicago during the intermission. They taught the crowd Hey Baby Doll and filmed it in less than 20 minutes. That's the sort of thing that makes Danny Collins enjoyable, the mix of flamboyance and subtlety. Al Pacino and Bobby Cannavale show that subtlety when they share the last scene of the movie. That last 3 minutes makes the entire film. It is a thing of beauty and worth waiting for. I love Danny Collins, but I'm a diehard Bobby Cannavale and Al Pacino fan, and I have personal connection to several of the plot devices. Still, whether you're a baby boomer or one of their babies, flaws and all, you might want to tuck into this old-fashioned dramedy about a man who chooses, as John would say, to no longer ride on the merry-go-round. So, I give this movie 3 out of 5 stars. If you found this review helpful, subscribe and check out my other reviews and interviews. Until next time, thanks for watching, and go find a new favorite film.